It's coming. Just hold on. It's coming. We may not see it. We may not think it. We may not believe it. But it's coming. It's coming. So let's behold. The time for healing is upon us. Again, I have to say gratitude and thanks to my dear sister, Carol. And music director extraordinaire, John B. Hedges. And we just put this together this morning. Whew. You see, I thought that I had picked the title for this morning's message. I thought that I picked the title, okay? But as recent circumstances have unfolded in my life, I realized that the Spirit selected this title to ground me in bringing forth a profound healing message for this moment, at this time, right here and right now. On Friday morning, I called my dear sister, Dr. Carol Penn Jones, just to check in. And she said that she was preparing to take her husband to the hospital. Later that afternoon, I received a call from my sister who told me that she had been diagnosed with COVID. And I later learned that my executive director's wife had gone to urgent care and was advised to get to the closest hospital. And prior to all of this, one of my coworkers recently informed us that she had cancer. So you see, the time for healing unexpectedly landed at my door in a very powerful way. You see, I thought that I picked the title for this morning's message, but the Spirit picked it for me. However, I can't stop thinking about all of us and those we know who at one point or another have found ourselves in broken places, broken spaces, broken experiences with a need for a healing. Perhaps from feeling out of balance, grief-stricken from the loss of loved ones, living with a chronic illness, struggling with a devastating health diagnoses, facing unemployment, underemployment, or no employment at all, financial devastation, bankruptcy, mental health challenges, depression, homelessness, wounded hearts, betrayal, broken relationships, and dreams deferred with no hope of how to move forward in our lives. So how can one possibly find healing through circumstances that seem insurmountable to overcome? I'm going to say that again. So how can one possibly find healing through circumstances that seem insurmountable to overcome? You see, our life's journey is now calling us to move to higher ground, reach deeper and go within to heal the difficult and often unexpected challenges we are experiencing in our personal lives, family relationships, changing communities, as well as the catastrophic and profound changes we are witnessing throughout the country and around the world. However, today we want to put everything on pause to tap into a divine opportunity and unique moment to bring forth healing, restoration, renewal, and reflection. You see, yesterday is gone forever, and we certainly cannot forecast what tomorrow or the future will bring. But today, just today, realize that our eyes opened and we are blessed to connect with each other in person and through this virtual sacred space. Just for today, I invite you to lay your burdens down, release your troubles, open your heart to these precious moments of being connected. Just relax. Uncross your arms. Uncross your feet. Breathe and allow the power of the Spirit to guide us. Let us reflect on our challenges as divine opportunities to assist in our individual, personal, emotional, and spiritual growth. Let us see the glasses half full instead of half empty. Remember, we are so much more than we know because we stand on the shoulders of countless generations of ancestors who came before us to pave the way, who endured many struggles and made the ultimate sacrifice for us to be here today. Let us not forget from whence we've come and the lessons we can learn from those who came before us. Remember, everything starts with each one of us. In order to change the outside world, we have to be willing to do the inner work and trust the process for our divine healing, our birthright. Remember, it's not about what's happening, but how we respond to it. In the words of Dr. Wayne Dyer, he says, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Let me begin by sharing a few vignettes about the journey of healing and transformation. In January of 2005, I slipped on black ice in downtown Philadelphia and fractured a bone in my right ankle and leg. I was taken to Pennsylvania Hospital where I was diagnosed with a pylon fracture and was told I needed to have 2 surgeries and a bone graft. After numerous x-rays, I was informed that the director of the foot and ankle department at the University of Penn had been contacted and expressed interest in my situation. I was also informed that I had the option of having the first surgical procedure at Pennsylvania Hospital, or I could be transferred to the University of Pennsylvania Hospital. Needless to say, I had a lot of anxiety about all I was experiencing and what was going to happen next, especially since I had only been hospitalized to give birth to my children. So I agreed to be transferred, and after getting settled in my hospital room, I met Dr. Inyi Okereke from Nigeria, who came to my room and said quietly, "Good evening, Mrs. Brandon. My name is Dr. Okereke, and I'm going to take care of you." He explained everything about my diagnosis and what the journey ahead would be like. From that moment on, I felt an extraordinary sense of relief and knew that I was safe and in good hands. The journey ahead was by no means easy, but I trusted my doctor and the process I would be going through with 2 surgeries, a bone graft, being out of work for 6 months, physical therapy for 9 months, and the inability to walk on my own, relying on a wheelchair, progressing to a walker, and ultimately walking on a cane for a year. One of the things that inspired me at the beginning of the process was when a dear friend of mine called me and said, "Honey, you've helped everyone, including me, and we've all been waiting to do something for you. So just surrender." That was a turning point that gave me inspiration to support my healing journey and transformation. Today, I walk with confidence, even in high heels, and grace, recognizing that this experience didn't allow me to feel like a victim, but someone who was able to heal and trust the process to overcome what could have been a life-altering challenge for me. You see, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at, they change, and healing will be possible. The next vignette is about a man named Viktor Frankl, and the book he wrote in 1946 entitled Man's Search for Meaning, which chronicles his experiences in an Auschwitz concentration camp during World War II, and his psychotherapeutic method, which involved identifying a purpose in life to feel good about, regardless of the circumstances, and then focusing your imagination on the outcome. Let me say that again. To identify a purpose in your life that you feel positive about, regardless of the circumstances, and then focusing or visualizing your imagination on the outcome. You see, Viktor Frankl lost his entire family while in that concentration camp. But this is what came out of it for him. This is what he said. He said, "There were always choices to make. Every day, every hour offered the opportunity to make a decision which determined whether you would or would not submit to those powers which threatened to rob you of your very self, your inner freedom, which determined whether or not you would become the plaything of their circumstances. Renouncing freedom and dignity to become molded into the form of the typical inmate." He said, and I quote, "He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how." He said, "He who has a why to live, can bear with almost any how." That's how he survived. You see, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, and healing will be possible. The final vignette is a triumphant story about Amanda Gorman, American poet, National Youth Poet Laureate, and activist, born in Los Angeles, California, and known for works that address Black identity, feminism, marginalization, and climate change. She gained international fame when she read her poem, "The Hill We Climb," at the 2021 inauguration of the United States President Joseph Biden. Gorman and her siblings, including her twin sister Gabrielle, were raised by a single mother, Joan Wicks, who was a middle school English teacher. The sisters both had difficulties with speech. Amanda had an auditory processing disorder that made it hard for her to pronounce the letter R. She also had a stuttering disorder. Just sit with that for a minute, for those of you that know you've seen this young lady and what she overcame to be able to stand there at that inauguration and recite. By her own account, she sought out poetry as an inexpensive means of expressing herself. She became a youth delegate for the United Nations in 2013. The following year, she was named inaugural Los Angeles Youth Poet Laureate, one for whom, with the book, The One for Whom Food Is Not Enough. In 2015, Amanda enrolled at Harvard University. In 2017, while still attending Harvard, she became the inaugural National Youth Poet Laureate. She graduated cum laude in 2020 with a degree in sociology. This was the girl that could not pronounce the letter R and had a stuttering disorder. In 2021, she became one of only a handful of poets, including Robert Frost and Maya Angelou, to recite a poem at a U.S. presidential inauguration. She immediately captivated the audience with her poise and stirring message, gesturing elegantly and employing wordplay to great effect. You know, when she speaks, she uses her hands. She addressed a country grieving the losses of the COVID-19 pandemic, shaken by George Floyd's murder in 2020 and reeling over the Capitol insurrection a few weeks prior. These events expressed how division sowed violence, inaction, and discrimination. She rallied listeners not only to set aside differences and to unite, but also to recognize that America was at a turning point when citizens must reckon with the country's harrowing history to redeem its founding ideals. She warned of the consequences of doing nothing, acknowledged her presence at an inauguration as a proof of the country's ability to change. She says, "For there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it." You see, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, and healing will be possible. These vignettes demonstrate the powerful healing transformation that can take place when we identify the work we need to do to heal and to be a catalyst for change and ultimately transformation. If we change how we think, then we can change how we feel and identify the actions we need to take, which ultimately change the world around us. Not only because we're viewing life through a new prism of thoughts and emotions, but to allow the change within to help us take action in ways we never would have imagined. In closing, I leave you with the following quotes to summarize how our healing can be manifested. Lena Horne said, "It's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it." Dr. Carol Penn Jones, and I quote her when she said, "When there are cracks, that's when the light gets in." Albert Einstein said, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, some are stronger in those broken places." And Brian McGill said, "When you are broken open, you get to discover for the first time what's inside of you." Remember, we are all on a magnificent journey with many experiences unfolding in our lives, each one designed with a divine purpose of healing, helping us find wisdom, gain strength, and heal the broken places in our lives. Remember, we are strong. We are wonderfully and fearfully made to stand the test of time, no matter what comes up in our lives. Many have come before us to demonstrate perseverance and what it takes to endure life's circumstances. In the words of Dr. Maya Angelou, she says, "I come as one, but stand as 10,000. You see, I stand as 10,000, but come as one. I come as one, but stand as 10,000. The time has come, and we're all being called to higher ground to shine our lights, for healing is upon us." Amen, Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Hi, I'm Reverend Hannah Capaldi.
And I'm Reverend Abby Tennis. We are the ministers at the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, where our mission is to awaken love and justice in our lives and in the world.
We're so grateful that you watched, and we hope that the sermon connected with your soul.
We also want to invite you to join us for a live worship service every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can always find the link to that service on our website at www.philauu.org. In these services, you'll hear words like you've just heard, and you also get a chance to greet one another, pray together, sing together, and we even hold a virtual coffee hour after services to get a chance to greet some new and old friends.
If you want to support the mission of this community and you feel moved to give, you can do so by going to the website that Reverend Abby just mentioned. You can find that link below, or you can text 215-709-5095 and follow the prompts to give.
If someone in your life needs to hear these words today, we encourage you to share this video. And again, thank you so much for watching.
We hope to see you soon.